Hey everybody, this is Kevin over at jkevinjohnson.com. This is the jkevinjohnson.com radio show podcast. Just coming to sit down with you for another morning, afternoon, evening, just evening, chat, to shoot the breeze with you for about 30 minutes and just kind of hopefully speak some encouraging, edifying, edutaining words of value into your life to help you just go, just to help you sit back and take a moment and kind of think and just relax and get some satiating thought pumped into your brain, or what I consider to be satiating. You may consider it something else, but that's okay. As long as you're here listening, as long as you're responding, that's fine with me. So I'll take it however I can get it. Hello, how you doing? I'm doing pretty good. I can't complain. Another beautiful day in paradise. So I've been, as I talked about, or as I mentioned yesterday, I'm going to be talking about having a resolve. This is coming up on the new year. We're almost at the end of the year. We're getting close. We're edging over to the cliff to fall over. January, December 31st to January the 1st, and step into a new year. So I like to, around this time of the year, I like to look at the previous year, or over the last few months in retrospect, and kind of meditate and think about things that I did and that I didn't do, that I wanted to do, and that's still on my bucket list, and that I still want to do and achieve and try to reach, and what I can do better next year, and all this kind of stuff. The normal things that we all go through whenever we go from year to year. And I just resolve to have a resolve. just quite simply, I got the same resolutions like everybody else. Get healthy, get richer, and be happier. You know what I'm saying? It's real simple. So just thinking about that, I titled today's show "The New World Order," Propaganda, the New World Order, and Spiritual Warfare. Now, just to kind of get us started, and just to put some thoughts in your head on where I'm going with this, I was thinking about the book Propaganda by Edward Bernays, who was the nephew of famed or infamous psychiatrist Sigmund Freud, and how Edward Bernays was a superstar in his own right. He was an elite. He was part of the top echelon of movers and shakers himself. To give him a little background, he was the nephew of Sigmund Freud, pioneered the scientific technique of shaping and manipulating public opinion, which he called engineering of consent. During World War I, he was an integral part, along with Walter Lippmann, and we might talk about him later, of the U.S. Committee on Public Information, a powerful propaganda machine that advertised and sold the war to the American people as one that would make the world safe for democracy. We know this statement very well. The marketing strategies for all future wars would be based on the CPI model. Now, this just isn't talking about war as in bombs and guns and tanks and missiles and stuff like that. This is war in every aspect and area of human endeavor. So you got to realize that when they talk about war, they're talking about war, and I'm talking about the ruling shadow government that's marching and moving and molding, manipulating the affairs of our world into a one world government, with a one world ruler, one world judicial system, one world religion, one world army. So as we're being manipulated into this, maneuvered into this, you have to realize that this is not just war as in violence against you physically, but also war against your heart, war against your mind, and war ultimately against your soul, your spirit, in your spirit. So this is where the spiritual part comes in, and having a resolution to not give in, and having a resolution to stand firm, and having a resolution to not succumb to the influence and seducing, alluring, luring, the seduction of the New World Order. It's like a right hand and a left hand, a right jab, a left hook. They might get you over with the left with the entertainment, and then they might hook you with a sucker punch of actually getting physically punched. But you just got to realize that the world in which we live is highly manipulated. Just let me read this out of his book, the first page actually, of Propaganda. Now you got to realize and look up that Edward Bernays played a real important part as far as a lot of our cultural what they call it, cultural acceptance of a lot of things that we see common today, such as women smoking. He played a part, or he was one of the main drivers, or he was the main guy on how to get more women to smoke, thus increasing lung cancer in the female population. Thanks, Mr. Edward Bernays. He also, like I said, he was part of the war machine against the mind to have World War I accepted by the people, by the population. So he sold war for the government. And then also bacon and eggs. He was a big part of getting bacon and eggs. As why, you ever ask the question, why is bacon and eggs such a breakfast food these days? It's like, what you want for breakfast? I want bacon and eggs. Let's do that. He was an integral part of getting that. He was one of the main drivers of getting that done. So, just to name a few things that we today take for granted and really don't think about, but when you actually do some digging and do some reading, some research and stuff, and start looking, you'll see that a lot of this stuff comes down to a very select few people. So it shows, it's an example to the possibility of only a select few, a minute circle of men and women who are wielding tremendous power and influence over the masses, over millions of minds, hearts, souls. It's no different than a superstar, an idol, like say, for example, Kim Kardashian or Kanye West or Beyonce or Jay-Z or any of these superstars you may see on TV or hear on the radio. You set up an idol, one superstar, Miley Cyrus, Justin Bieber, and then you allow the hearts and minds of young children to attach to them in their innocent days, and then as they get older, you turn and twist them, and you pervert them and turn them out. And in that perversion and twisting process, you're not only twisting the idol, the superstar, but you're also twisting all the hearts and minds and souls that are attached to that are following, that are worshiping that idol. So this is how one idol can affect the hearts and minds, the souls of millions everywhere. So this is important. This is an important concept to learn and to realize. And once you realize it, you can see how this thing is easily done, as far as millions of people being maneuvered and mastered and pushed into a so we have Edward Bernays saying the conscious and intelligent manipulation of the organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in democratic society. Is it? Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country. We are governed, our minds molded, our taste formed, our ideas suggested, largely by men we have never heard of. This is a logical result of the way in which our democratic society is organized. Vast numbers of human beings must cooperate in this manner if they are to live together as a smoothly functioning society. Our invisible governors are, in many cases, unaware of the identity of their fellow members in the inner cabinet. They govern us by their qualities of natural leadership, their ability to supply needed ideas, and their key position in the social structure. Whatever attitude one chooses towards this condition, it remains a fact that in almost every act of our daily lives, whether in the sphere of politics or business, in our social conduct or our ethical thinking, we are dominated by the relatively small number of persons, a trifling fraction of our 120 million. You got to remember, this is written like back in the 30s, I believe, 1930s, who understand the mental processes and social patterns of the masses. It is they who pull the wires which control the public mind, who harness old social forces and contrive new ways to bind and guide the world. So this is just a small fraction of page the first paragraph, couple of paragraphs of chapter 1 of the book Propaganda, written by the nephew of the psychiatrist Sigmund Freud, who, everybody in his own right was a genius at manipulation as far as the minds of men. So that's out of the first. That's a pretty damning statement. I mean, it's a smoking gun in my view, but you can get the book yourself, Propaganda, read it, and you'll see he outlines a lot of things, but pretty much he lays it all out there is all I can say. And if you look at the outline, it's very clear in the outline the psychology of public relations, business and the public, propaganda, political leadership, women's activities and propaganda, propaganda for education, social services, art and science, and the mechanics of propaganda. So he goes into a lot of different stuff on how and what areas and just about everything. So that's just one small example or statement of a multitude, a mass of statements out there you can find on the internet, but it's good to get the actual books, first copies if you can, but just get the actual books in your hand as possible is one of the better ways. Try to get first-hand copies of stuff too, if you can. But it's out there, and it's pretty much general knowledge that we are going towards a one-world system, and it's being sold for security and safety purposes and for the betterment of man. It's been, it has a nice little package on it for the good of all mankind, but when you get right down to it, the Bible is very clear in that this is not going to be happy land, especially for the called out, the Christians. This is going to be a tough time. So right now we should spend our time, our moments enjoying our lives, and living in states of preparation, and enjoy your life, But at the same time, you got to hold the idea that things can change on a dime any second, any moment. And plus, you should always be ready anyway, because you never know when you're going to get hit by a trailer truck. You never know when you're going to trip and fall, and that's it, the end of it. You never know when you just never know if a meteor might fall out of the sky, or you might be that 1 in a billion person that it actually hits. So, you got to be ready at all times. So just talking about propaganda, New World Order, and spiritual warfare, and having a resolve. I've been thinking about having a resolve and just, looking at a more personal level, and that if you don't have a resolve about the things, if you don't have a strategy, if you don't sit down and actually game plan your life out and have conviction and unmovable convictions and resolutions about things in your life, you're going to find yourself being in places and doing things you never thought you would do, never wanted to do. You're going to find yourself at the whim and at the influence and power of others constantly. Now, I know this happens. This is just the way our society is set up. This is going to happen regardless, but you got to increase that cushion around you as much as you possibly can, and cut your tethering to this system as much as you possibly can. And the more you do that in your life, the easier things will be, and the better for everybody in your sphere of influence things would be. So enjoy your life, but just keep in mind that this thing is temporary, and we're in for a rude awakening as far as cycles and things that are things that has to be brought to a balance or resolution with respect to where we live and in the times that we are in right now. So things could go on for another million years, who knows? But just for where we're at in this particular time, we're not in Kansas anymore. We have to prepare ourselves for a paradigm shift. And what I mean by that is that my generation in particular, I'm 37, we haven't really seen hard times the way previous generations have. And, the generations after me, they haven't really seen any hard times either. So we're in for a rude awakening when things change as far as our economic system, the way things are done socially, the way business is transacted, the freedoms that we enjoy now. So we got to keep all this in mind while enjoying our life, and while we learn and grow and mature and bring to perfection our relationship with Christ, and allow His Spirit to work through us and bring us into maturity, so that we can carve out and hone little or big areas of Eden, peace, oasis in dry places. So it's not all grim. And this is what I was talking about yesterday, in that once you break through the illusion and come out on the other side, you see it's actually beautiful. So you can live good even in hard times. You can be one of the ones who is wealthy and who is living a perfectly normal and good life, even in hard times when everybody else isn't. So this is what wise people do. They carve out little dens for themselves, and they try to warn as many people as they can. But they always make sure that mama at home or daddy at home is taken care of first, and then they go out and help others along the way in whatever capacity that they can. So that's just one example of the book Propaghanda. I was just it was on my shelf, and I was just kind of looking at it and thinking about it. Some other things, another thing that you might want to look at that I was thinking about was the interview with John Taylor Gatto, who wrote the book The Dumbing Down of America. He also has a 5-hour interview with the guy over at the podcast The Peace Revolution. He also has a website called Tragedy and Hope, where he has that 5-hour. He's the one that did the 5-hour interview with John Taylor. He was like New York City's Teacher of the Year, like a bunch of times or 2 times in a row or something like that. He was trained, and he's worked at all the elite schools, and he knows about education and the educational process and what that's ultimately all about. So that's just another little small footnote you can check out. But I just wanted to talk about like spiritual warfare real quick, and why the spiritual element to this is never really is rarely brought out. Or it's rarely really talked about in depth, or just talked about it any type of fashion. because, one of the things that I was learning about all this stuff was, why? What happens when you get all the pieces on the board and you're just sitting back and you're like, I finally did it. See what happens then? Well, you kill everybody. That's what you do. And, like, where does that come in at? Well, you have to understand that the overarching spirit behind it is hates man because he's made in the image of God. So this is a spiritual thing. And we may or may not go into it in depth. I only got 30 minutes, so I try to use this time wisely. Spiritual warfare for your soul, just looking at like Ephesians 6 and 13, Ephesians 3 and 10, then Romans 8 and 38, just helping bring to light and shed more light to that. There is a spiritual aspect to this new world order, to our world in which we live right now at this moment in time in 2015, that is not often talked about with reference to the new world order, and that this is really true spiritual warfare. So which why it behooves us to put on the whole armor of God, the righteousness, the armor of light, so that you can be a beacon of hope and you can break through and stand and strive against darkness. So that's why I brought in those scriptures, and also 2 Corinthians 10 and 14 and Ephesians 6 and 12, just to name a very small few of many. So I won't really go through all this, those scriptures, but you can kind of use those as references, as jumping off points for you in your own personal study. But I just want to speak some encouragement in that once you come to the realization of all this, the reality that we live in a matrix that's highly manipulated and controlled, now you can start making better decisions and better solutions, providing better solutions or looking for better solutions that'll help you make wise decisions so that you can enjoy your everyday life. So you can enjoy your life and live good, laugh, lift, lift weights and, do all the stuff that you love to do, whether it be sewing, knitting, or whatever, So you have to have a resolve to say, I'm not going to give into this system. I got to live in it, but I'm not going to take on its mindset. I'm not going to take on its mindset that I'm not good enough, that I'm not beautiful, that the mindset that they say that man is a virus to the planet. I'm not going to take on the mindset that I'm ugly. I'm not going to take on the mindset that I'm too fat, I'm too thin, I'm too not this, not that. Those lies, I'm not going to accept them. I'm not smart enough. I'm not whatever enough. I'm not going to take it. Those lies. I am good enough. I deserve love. I am worthy. He does love me. I'm not too fat. I'm not too thin. I'm smart enough. Whatever, And I'm not going to take on the emotions, the emotional state of mind of fear and anxiousness and worry. Oh, what's coming next? Is the sky going to fall? Oh, who's going to take care of me tomorrow? Where's my meal coming from? Where's my plate coming from? No, you can take on the mindset of peace beyond all understanding, peace and rest. You don't have to be restless. You can be peaceful and know that if your Heavenly Father is going to take care of the birds, the sparrows, so to speak, He's going to take care of you. So no matter what, you will be provided for, taken care of, a way will be made. Now it's up to you to go fill out the application. It's up to you to get up and go search and move and work, so you got to do your best and let Him do the rest, so to speak. And your body, don't let them speak sickness and disease and death on you. By 2030, more than half the U.S. population is supposed to be obese. Another thing about 2030, exponentially cancer and all these other diseases is supposed to be exponentially increased diabetes, and all these other things. Also, the UN agenda for sustainability, that's supposed to be implemented and supposed to be highly in effect, dealing with one world government and for the betterment of man. So, just with respect, be encouraged, have a good time, learn about this stuff. Learn about propaganda, which is nothing more than weaponized messages against your mind and your soul and your spirit, your heart, to help lead and guide you and steer you. Learn about that. Learn about the New World Order. Read a couple of books, read a couple of articles, get on YouTube and look at a couple of old film footages of interviews with senators and publishers and historians, and just kind of check that out a little bit. And then get in your Bibles, get in the Word, and still your mind with the Word of God. How your mind transformed daily by standing in His Word and putting on some good music, some music that's going to speak to your soul, satiate you, and fill your desires, so that you won't desire what the world has to offer. You will lose your desire for it. The taste in your mouth will leave. The more that you feed the good wolf, so to speak. There are two wolves, as the story goes. I think it's how it goes, and and they're warring in your heart, in your mind, your soul, your body. And the question is, which one wins? And the answer is whichever you feed the most. So the more you start feeding your soul with the Word of God and with His heart, with music, good people, community, positive-minded people, the more you start being around, the more you start implementing, incorporating this stuff, inviting His Spirit to come into your heart and clean house and take residence there, the seat of your soul, so to speak. The more you start resonating with that and allow Him to resonate in you, and you get in tune with Him, and you put on His Spirit and allow His Spirit to take over, like I was saying, the clearer things become, the calmer you get, and the lighter the burdens of life get. So I just wanted to speak a couple of entertaining and educating and encouraging words to you today. This is Kevin over at jkevinjohnson.com. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for sitting in and lending that ear so we can shoot the breeze for a minute. I'm just speaking to you straight off the cuff. Just some thoughts that run through my mind. Just to let you know that I really don't plan a lot of this stuff out, which I probably should be. But I just sit down for 30 minutes and just speak my heart to you. Just hoping that there's a people out there that this resonates with, and we can just vibe and resonate and have a community, a virtual community. Hopefully it could maybe meet in the real world at some point in the far future. So with that, this is Kevin over at jkevinjohnson.com, just speaking to you. Life is beautiful, and there's a lot to talk about. So let's talk.